Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. This video is the continuation of our Python project where we are adding the Gradio Python library based UI on top of Stable Diffusion AI text to image models. In the very first part of our video, we have already completed the base class for our project. We already have added three different tabs where first tab we are loading the model. The third tab we are setting the stable diffusion model specific settings. And in the second tab we are using a prompt to generate the image based on our prompt. And now in this third video, we are going to enhance our existing application by adding more functional component on top of it. So before I explain what I am going to add in this second part of my video, I just wanted to let you know that please do visit the full explanation project video to learn more about the project and its application and viability, how you could utilize it at multiple places outside Stable Diffusion model based code implementation. In this video, we are going to achieve three important tasks. First, we are going to implement the record from microphone. It means the prompt will be created based on audio, and we are going to use the ASR modules or ASR models from the Hugging Face. The ASR or the audio speech recognition models are available at the Hugging Face repo. So we will be using those Hugging Face ASR models to validate the text recorded by the microphone and convert it to the text here. In the second phase, we are going to add support for these artist choice, photo style choice, artist name, color choice, as well as the design choice. And in the third and final phase, we are going to implement support for loading the saved images like this, along with the particular prompt which generated those images. So these three different tasks will be covered in this video. The code base for this project will be taken from the previous part 1 of the web UI code part 1. This means we are going to add code on top of web UI code part 1 with the project name web UI code part 2. Here in my local file system, I do have web UI code part 1 project. So I will be creating a copy of this project, renaming it to part 2, and that will be the base code for us to create the three different functionality which we have just covered. We still have the web UI code part 1 loaded. So I will be closing this project and I will be opening the web UI code part 2 for us to get started. Here is the web UI code part 2 which we have just copied based on part 1. And now the web UI code part 2 is our project. Let's rename the project to web UI code part 2. So now our code and project is all web UI code part 2. This project is also using the Python runtime 3.10.6, and the code web UI.py is going to be launched from the folder web UI code part 2 as well as the working directory. So everything is ready for us to get started coding. So very first thing, let me launch the web UI code part 2 very first time. The application is running at port 7860. Let me reload, and as you could see that we only have these three tabs, and here is our prompt. So I will be adding the support for microphone based audio prompt here. Come back to the UI. This is our very first tab. That's the second tab. Here we need to add, so we can say audio prompt is gr dot audio. We need to use source is microphone, and type will be file path. Next, we need to add a button for it. So audio prompt button, and that will be the gr.button with label record prompt from microphone. So we need to add support for audio prompt button. So when the click is going to happen, the function which we are going to create is going to generate the audio prompt, and the result will be stored in this text prompt. Here we can also add the lines, and we can make this 3-line prompt. Click. We need to write the method here, which will be used to process audio. Define process microphone audio as our method. Takes this method, that will be our self method input. The input is going to be the audio prompt, and the output is going to be the text prompt. Here we need to implement the method which is going to be using the ASR model, automatic speech recognition model, from the Hugging Face. The very first thing, we need to import the pipeline from transformer. So from transformers import pipeline, and you must install the transformers using pip command. So we need to define the pipeline first. So p equals pipeline, and we need to use the automatic speech recognition. Text is going to be p of audio, and it's going to be text because I have experience using it earlier, so I do remember this code. And we need to make sure that this audio which is going to be coming into the pipeline is actually the input parameter. So now we have connected our microphone input here with the pipeline. Here the return will be the text. So this text is going to be return output as the text prompt. At this point, if we would want, we can actually add a new property to our class called the text prompt. So we could say self.text prompt is none, initial prompt there is nothing, but we could update this prompt here. We can say self.prompt is what is updated, and we can also return this prompt. So now by doing this means adding a text prompt to the class, we can always set and retrieve the text prompt by using the class instantiated object. Let's rerun the code, reload. As you could see that this record from microphone control is available, and that is because of this audio prompt. This button is this, and finally when we click this button, the text prompt, this will be updated. So before we need to start, first we need to record a text. So I will create a click event here which will make the microphone to be open. A kangaroo is reading the newspaper while sitting on a chair. Here is our audio. A kangaroo is reading paper while sitting on a chair. When we are going to click this run button, the text which is available here will be processed and finally returned as a output prompt here. At this time, the ASR model, as you could see here in background, ASR model has been invoked, and which is the wave to vector model, and our audio is converted into the text. A kangaroo is reading the newspaper while sitting on a chair. So let's fix it. That became our prompt. It means the code which we have implemented just here is working as it was expected by us. our part 1 of the implementation of this code is done. In the next step, our objective is to add the various prompts update as seen here to make our coding much faster. I have already added few properties, so I will be adding here. First, here are a list of artist names. So that's the artist names. You can add more. Second, we are going to use the color choice. Here are different color choice, and here are the design choice such as smooth, sharp, focus, denoise, sharp focus, detailed. Here we are adding the art style such as dramatic light, character design, shoe art, Diablo art, fantasy, 3D style, animation, funny, digital, steampunk, anthropomorphic, trendy, etc. And the very last we have this photo style such as painting, photo, cinematic, illustration, animation, Octane render, Unreal Engine 5 render, etc. Now our objective is to add either radio button or the checkbox. So with the artist name, we are going to use the radio button, means only one can be selected. With color choice, it will be radio. Design choice, it will be radio. With art style, would be the checkbox, but with photo style, would be the radio button. Let's come back to our text input area. Is the second number of tab. With the prompt, we can add more settings here. Here is the art styles choices. So it's a checkbox. Here are the art style. Selection is none. Art style choices. And remember, it's a checkbox. Means one or more art styles can be selected. Next, we are going to create the radio button, and by creating the artist name option. Artist name, one which is selected by default at first. Next, we are going to add the photo style. It's a radio button. It means only one style can be selected. Next one is the design choice. Design choice, which is also a radio button, and here we are using the input as a design choice. So all of these inputs, art style, artist names, photo style, design choice, we have already added here. I think the last one is color choice is left. Let's add the color choice using the color choice, and which is also a radio. So these are the 5 input. Let's add the art style first along with text prompt. Second, we are using the artist name. Third, we are using the photo style. Fourth, design choice. And last is the color choice. These are the 5 new options which you have added. So we need to make sure that we need to update this function. Here we are going to add these 5 choices. Now when these 5 choices will be coming to us, we need to make sure that we can update our prompt. So it means we need to write a method here where we could update our prompt. So here we can create define update prompt. This method is basically going to take these options will be input, and we can also take this prompt as the first input here. So here we can say that this prompt is going to be used update prompt, where all of these values will be used. Self dot and return prompt. So this update prompt method is going to update our prompt, which is text prompt. This we make sure that we update the self.text prompt is going to be updated this prompt, and here the prompt will be used self dot text prompt. So when the generate image from prompt function is going to be called, it has all these new options. They all will be processed by this update prompt method, and then this update prompt method will update the prompt based on logic which we are going to add here, and that prompt will be used with this generator.generate method. We can start here. So let's take the photo style. We can say if photo style is not equal to none, then we can update this prompt. So prompt equals to prompt plus comma plus whatever the photo style, because there will be only one photo style. If it is not none, we will add. So that's the radio option. Similar to it, we are also having the color choice. So if the color choice is not none, we can add that one too. Finally, we can use the design choice. After we have selected these three, we have art styles, which is a collection, and the artist name. So we want to use the artist name at the very last and artist choices first. So we need to make sure that if the length of artist choice is greater than 0, artist styles choices, we can add here. The only thing what we need to do, we need to use the join method, and where we could say join everything art style choices. We need to make sure that they are all joined by the comma. So after prompt, all the items which are available in the art style choice will be added here. So we need to make sure one more check. The checkbox must not have the none in it. It means if none is selected, then we should not use anything. Then we can length of artist choice is equal to 1, and the value of artist choice is not, only then we are going to update our prompt. So that's how we are going to add all the styles. And finally, we can add the artist name. Artist name is not none. We are going to add here, and then we need to say style. That's it. So that's style by, and we need to add a space here. So artist name will be used. So we have covered all 5 options in the update prompt, and that is what has been updated. And then prompt also has that updated code here. Let's run the code and see. Let's reload. As you could see that the settings which we have just added along with our prompt are already added. Artist name, photo style, design choice, color choice, artist style. We can make sure our prompt is working. But before the prompt, let's load the model. Now, as the model has been loaded, so let's work on our prompt. So we could say beautiful landscape. Here we could say that we would want to have the design concept with digital art in 3D style. We can also use the design should be made by Monet. Style we can use as a painting. Design choice we would want the sharp focus, and color choice we would love to have it golden. Based on that, let's try to generate the image. This generation has been started. As you could see, our image is generated. Definitely it has the golden hue. It actually using the Monet, the water lily kind of concept art, and it's definitely looks like the painting. So if we remove the artist and make it more illustration or the detailed, or maybe make it realistic, remove the artist name and have the focus but does not use the color choice, and run it again, we can see little more different. output coming out based on our prompt. And one good thing with these settings is that you don't really need to update your prompt again and again, while you can have a combination of these styles and choices to generate the different results. And depending on our prompt, here is the landscape, which is a design concept 3D art, more realistic. And because we have the digital art with realistic, may not be a good combination, but at least you get an idea that depending on your settings, we do have our images generated as we set different properties within our prompt. It means that part 2 of our objective in this video has achieved. In this third part, our objective is to actually start saving all the images as well as our prompts to the disk. And in order to achieve this option, very first thing what we need is to learn how to save our images on the disk. We can look into the generator where we generate the image. And if you remember this code, this is the code which actually saves the image to the disk. And here is the file name. So what we can do, we can create a new method which actually saves the image to the disk. And every time we save the image, we need to make sure that we know how many images are in that disk, so we can update the image counter. Here I will be creating a new method, find save image to disk. We can look into our project, and our objective is to save the image within the folder, and the new folder will be called output. So this is the folder where all the images are going to be saved. So we can say save folder is, if we want to know the image save dir full path, then we need to get the full path current working directory plus the image save folder. So we need to know os.get current working directory plus image save. That what gives us the current output images full directory path. So that will be this path along with the full CWD. It means current working directory. Shown here, if we say pwd, so this will be the working directory plus slash in this output. Let's create the output file name. So output file name will be, we call it art image. This will be our file name .png. Between here will be the ID of the image. That's where the ID is going to come. So format, and here will be the image ID is currently 0, but this image ID will be depending on how many images are there in this current output folder. So we need to write a method here so we can count how many images are there. So we already know that in order to get the list of files in a folder, you can use os.list dir, and you can provide the path. That should give you the list of all the files. So we could say files list. That should give us all the files. But we need to make sure that all the files which we have in this folder, they must be image, correct? And they must not be directory. So that's our output folder. So if we would want to validate that, we could say actually the F for files in here, and we can put this thing in parentheses. So now if you see here, all the files in this path will be in file, and because we are using this phase, so we need to make sure we have to add a condition. So we can say if, so this F, so we need to make sure that this F is a file. So we can say os.path.is file. So this F, it means this particular path plus root and plus f. It means this file. If f for f in files, f for f, now it's correct. So it's f for f in here if this particular file. So this is the complete path. So all the files, it just validate that they are all files. You can also add one more condition that all of these files, they must be the PNG file, because this one. So you can add one more condition and this f, and f dot ends with .png. So now we have validated that all the files which are going to be in this folder, they must be files, or if they are file, the last name or the extension for those files must be .png. Now we know that image ID will be the length of files list. So even if there is no file, the length will be 0. That will be image ID will be 0. So we need to make sure that whatever the current ID is, the next ID should be the current ID plus 1. So that is how we can generate more and more images in our folder. So now we need to call this method when we are generating the image here. So we are going to call this method here, and we need to make sure that we are passing the image. So this is the image which we are passing. So this is not none, and length is already 0. So here is our image we are passing. It means this is the method which is going to save our image. Let's come back here, pass the image to save. That is the method is going to accept the image here, and the output will be the written here. So the image ID is added here, but we need to make sure that we add this part to here at front slash. So it has 2 parameter. So now our output file name is correct. We have make sure that there is a full path added up to output here, then the art image, then the ID is added here, and finally .png. And that is how you will be able to save the image to the disk. And if you would want to update the current count of total images you have in your class, you can actually add a parameter called the total images. Self dot images total is equal to 0. So every time when image will be saved, you can update this image total. Here after the image is saved, you can say self dot image total is equal to current image ID. That's how you can get the total number of images updated in the class as well. Here we have saved it, so we can actually set this way. So first we save to disk, then we set this particular image as image out, which will be gone to the front end. Let's put a breakpoint here, so we make sure our code is working correctly as we have expected. Let's run it again. The code has been started. As you could see, our output folder is all empty. Let's reload the code. Let's load the model. Our model has been loaded successfully. Let's come back to the prompt, add a prompt here, a futuristic landscape, make it 3D and cinematic smooth. And as you could see that our breakpoint has been hit. Let's go to next. Now you could see that this is the full path which has all the way to the output here. It means image is going to be saved here. Now the next line is going to check that how many images are there. The current file list is all empty, so the image ID will be the 0. It means there are no images, so we need to update image ID to 1. So this will be the final or the final file name with the complete path. So output file name you can validate here. As you could see, this is using the output and the art image 1.png. So this is our output file name. At this point, this image is going to be saved here. Let's run this command. At this point, let's get out from this method. Here is our image, the first image. Let's come back to the code here. As you could see here, output has this very first image. Now, if we come back, make this futuristic landscape as designed by Picasso, run it again, and at this time, let's see what happened. Because this time the same code should work and it should actually generate the image, art image number 2, and both images should be preserved here. Point has been hit. Let's go next. How many images? One image. Image ID must be 2 at this point. Output image is definitely, you could see our image is 2. Image will be saved. Let's run. Here is the second image in 3D style. So this is the 3D style which actually taken over the design here. Let's check. Now you could see that both art image 1, art image 2 are available. It means our code is working. So we have successfully got our all the images saved to the disk. It means we are one step closer to our target, where we are looking to not only save the images but also load them in a drop down. There is still a lot more code we need to cover, but at least some of the functionality has been implemented in our code. So in this video, we have covered 3 main things. First, we were able to add the microphone support by using the ASR or the automatic speech recognition from Hugging Face Facebook model. Second, we have added this artistic choice, various properties to our prompt. And third, we are able to save the images which we are generating through a stable diffusion model to the disk. In the next video, we are going to build a new tab where we are going to show all the saved images into a drop-down, and we are also going to create a JSON file where all the prompts which we are creating will be saved to the disk, and we can retrieve the image as well as the prompt in this tab. That will be part of our next video. The code which we have covered in this video is going to be pushed into the GitHub repo. So we have added this web UI code part 2 today. Before I push our code, let me go ahead and remove these 2 images which we do not really need to push. This output folder, I will create a text file here. It will be saved here. And we do not need to worry about adding this file because we do have our code which protects us to keep any other file which is not the .png. It means when the counter will run, it will make sure that only the png files in the output folders are counted against the counter when we are saving these files. So that should be okay. The code which we have just updated is available back into the DeepWorks Stable Diffusion GUI part 2, and the code which we have updated is available in this backend file, and everything we have updated here such as text prompt, image total, these new properties. Here are the new methods such as these 2, and the code where we are handling the microphone to audio, and The control is also built into here, as well as the new text prompt related functionality here. So as you could see that all the code which we have added in our project today is available for you to start using and consume the way you would want. So at this point, we have completed the part 2 of our video. In the third part of the video, we are going to enhance our existing application, and that will be the last part of this complete series. I do appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the last part of this video. Until then, thank you so much.